Welcome to rSlash Parents, where an entitled father gets embarrassed for publicly wishing that his daughter would die. Our next Reddit post is from backoffmyrootbeer. Background: for my first semester in university, I had decided to live in dorms because they were so close to campus, and my scholarship would cover a portion of the housing. These dorms were suite style, so they had 5 bedrooms with 2 people in each room, and we all shared a common area in the center. The entitled kid in this story was the only one who knew her roommate beforehand because they moved here from Texas together. So the first day of check-in was absolutely insane. With 10 students in each room, we had 80 people on each floor, and the resident assistant had to check in each person individually, so we really didn't get time to know each other between the line and unpacking. Everyone's parents were there to help them move and to say goodbye. Our floor was all freshmen. Because of this, nobody really thought twice about entitled mom still being there that night. My roommate and I went to the opening ceremonies and didn't get home until probably 1 a.m. and were really surprised to see entitled mom asleep on the couch. We rubbed it off, thinking her flight back to Texas may not be until the next day, and just went to bed. That morning, we woke up to the most delicious smell of bacon, omelets, and waffles. Everyone slowly filed out of their rooms thinking one of our dorm mates had made us food before our first day of class. Boy, were we wrong. Entitled mom had gone through the fridge and cupboards taking ingredients from wherever she could find, meaning it was our food. As a student with no job at that point, the food she took from me and my other roommates was supposed to last the first couple weeks of school until we could get a job or parents sent some money. All of us were very obviously annoyed, but she seemed completely oblivious to the dirty looks. Entitled mom and kid were just munching away while their dishes and mess were piled all over the counter. Eventually, entitled kid's roommate walks out and they excitedly tell her that they made breakfast for her too. We were all dumbfounded, but kept quiet as we hurried to eat cereal or toast. My classes were in the afternoon, so I didn't get back from campus until around 4:30. I was expecting the mess to be cleaned and entitled mother to be gone, but as I walked in, the counters were still covered in their dishes, and entitled mom, entitled kid, and entitled kid's roommate were playing on my Xbox. I cleared my throat to get their attention. All I got was a side glance from the roommate, who looked like she'd been caught doing something really bad. As I peer farther over the couch, I realized they went through all of my tech box stuff to set up my Xbox, leaving everything from my Wii to all of my movies scattered on the ground. I was absolutely livid and went and unplugged the Xbox in the middle of their game. This made entitled mother completely lose it. "You brat, we were in the middle of something." Yeah, in the middle of my stuff. I expect you to put it all away. After hearing that, the roommate tried to get up and start cleaning my stuff. She couldn't even get all the way off the couch before entitled mom tugged her back down. "Kay doesn't listen to you, she listens to me. Maybe ask before assuming you're in charge." I didn't feel the need to deal with more of this BS, so I gathered all my things and shoved them in my room. Fast forward 2 weeks and we have our floor meeting with the RA. He explains certain rules like when quiet hours are and that a guest can only stay 2 nights consecutively. At this point, entitled mom had fully turned our living room into her bedroom by putting sheets on the couch and the whole 9 yards. Entitled kid and her roommate shared a glance and ran back to our dorm. The second the meeting was over, I marched up to the RA and told him that someone has had a guest since the first day of class. He looks absolutely dumbfounded as I lead him to our dorm. When we walk in, entitled kid and roommate are sitting on the couch as if nothing has happened, and there was no sign of entitled mom. The RA took entitled kid into the hall and they talked for 10 minutes. Apparently, she had been begging entitled mom to leave, but she just wouldn't. After hearing the rule, the entitled kid went and told entitled mom she has 5 minutes to get out, or she wouldn't be allowed to live there anymore. That isn't true, but she needed to sound serious. Entitled mom got up and left to drive back to Texas, which she could have done at any moment. The real kicker of this story is that there was a bed and breakfast not even 30 yards from the building entrance. Can you imagine being a college kid and going to a party and you meet some, cute dude, I guess, and bring him back to your apartment and your mom is there? That's super awkward. Our next Reddit post is from What the Heck? I saw this today and I can't stop laughing. I was traveling in my city metro. It wasn't that crowded at the time, but all the seats were occupied. Still, you can freely stand without being humped by a stranger. There was this kid sitting in the reserved seats, the ones for people with handicaps, pregnant women, and old people. Definitely not for moms of 2-year-olds. He was probably 14 or 15, I don't know. He's the hero of the story here. Then, at one stop, our entitled mother comes in. She has this cute little child who was trying to keep up with his mom's pace. Entitled mom instantly sees our hero sitting at the reserved seat and just stares at him. I guess this was her way to make people automatically give away their seats or something. The kid didn't move though. This probably irked entitled mom a lot, I guess, cause she moved towards the kid with heavy steps. She comes near him, stops, and again does the stare. The kid doesn't budge. Then she starts screaming. If she didn't have the whole compartment's attention earlier, she had it now. She starts berating the kid for sitting in a reserved seat and not giving it for someone more deserving, like a mother like herself with a young kid. I don't know what her logic was. The seats aren't reserved for them anyways. She just keeps shouting and screaming and tries to get others' opinions on it, and for a while people were on her side. Then the kid, out of nowhere, rolls the right side of his jeans up and detaches the artificial leg and holds it in front of entitled mother. The look on her face was priceless. It looked like she was mortified and embarrassed at the same time. She just backed away silently and just got off on the next step. I don't think that was her stop. That teenager has clearly dealt with his share of entitled mothers in his time. Clearly, he's figured out how to have a leg up over entitled people. Our next Reddit post is from Maddyherselius. So, the other night, I decided to go to a local lake and walk around to play some Pokemon Go. There's dozens of Pokestops around the lake, and quite a few gyms too, so it's a prime location to play. Also, I'm 22, and I went with a friend who's 28. It was a quiet night, not a whole lot of people walking around. We approach a park and shelter area and notice there's a raid about to start. So we sit at the shelter area to play it. I'm not sure how to explain this if you're unfamiliar with the game, lol. We happened to be the only people there, and across the trail was a park with a few kids and a mom barely paying attention. We're sitting there waiting for the raid to start for about 5 minutes when this mom comes over to us. "Can I ask you what you're doing here?" "We're playing Pokemon Go. Why?" "Well, it's pretty creepy you two adults are just sitting here near the park. You need to leave." "What? We're minding our own business. Maybe you should too." "You are making me and my children uncomfortable. I don't know what Pokemon Go is, but it sounds like an excuse to watch my kids." "Well, we'll only be here for like 10 more minutes, lady. We aren't watching your kids." "Ridiculous!" She then storms back over to the park and sits on the phone with someone. About 3 minutes later, she grabs her kids and comes over again, yelling at us that now her kids can't enjoy the park because us creeps want to kidnap them. She also explained to her children, who both looked to be younger than 10, that they had to leave because we were going to hurt them. I was baffled and didn't even know what to say. It's a public trail, public park, public shelter. And on a lot of days, there are dozens of adults playing Pokemon Go. It was so strange. I think the only appropriate response there would have been, "No ma'am, your kids are way too ugly for us to kidnap. You've got nothing to worry about." Our next Reddit post is from gruppyluppy. This isn't my story, but one from a coworker of mine. Sadly, I've heard many stories that are quite similar to this one, and it kind of makes me lose faith in humanity. I am thankful that it's never happened to me because I don't think I could have reacted professionally. At Disney World, we have quite a few Make-A-Wish families. If you're not familiar with Make-A-Wish, it's an organization that grants wishes to very sick children. These kids are often terminally ill, and it breaks my heart every time they come to visit the characters. Everyone in the room gets very emotional. Make-A-Wish families get special treatment in the parks, as they should. These kids usually cannot wait in long lines, so if you have a Make-A-Wish pass, you have a fast pass to everything. For rides, it's easy. Just send the family through the fast pass line. For characters, it can get a bit tricky. We have some characters that meet outside and therefore don't have a fast pass line. There's one queue, and you can see how many people are in front of you since there aren't any twisty queue lines that go through a building. In this case, Make-A-Wish families just come up to the character attendant, the person that takes care of the character, aka me, and shows us their special pass. We go over to the next family in the regular line, inform them that the Make-A-Wish family is going to cut in front of them, and after they're done, the next family will get their turn. Usually, people are hot and sweaty and tired, but they get it, and they wave me away with a quick, "Oh, it's no problem." Sometimes their kids get a bit frustrated because they don't understand why the Make-A-Wish kids get to cut in front, but the parents explain that they're doing a good deed by letting a really sick kid go first. Sometimes people get huffy, but I ignore them. They'll be fine to wait another minute. Occasionally, people get upset because they don't know what Make-A-Wish means, but it's oftentimes pretty obvious that the child is very sick, so people can put two and two together with context clues, and we can always explain if they still don't get it. But for the most part, American families have heard of Make-A-Wish and know what that means. However, people can still get really mad. I had a friend who was character attending with Princess Aurora and saw a Make-A-Wish family, let the next family in line know what was going on, and was shocked to hear the entitled dad's response. "Sorry sir, this Make-A-Wish family is going to go through first. Thank you for your patience." "Are you kidding me? We've been waiting here forever. This is ridiculous." "Sorry sir." My friend shot him a look and turned away to focus on the Make-A-Wish family. Entitled dad pouts like a child. "Wow, I wish my kid had a disease so they could cut all the lines," he muttered under his breath, probably louder than he intended to. Everyone froze. Princess Aurora, my friend who was working, the family behind Entitled Dad, and the Make-A-Wish family all turned to stare at Entitled Dad. Aurora was pissed and said something to the effect of, "Well, that wasn't a very princely thing to say," before turning her attention to the Make-A-Wish little girl. Her mom looked like she was going to cry. My friend barely kept his composure, went right over to Entitled Dad and said, "I bet our friend over here would give anything to be in your shoes, don't you think?" The family behind Entitled Dad grumbled about him being rude and horrible. Entitled Dad knew he had put his foot in his mouth. His daughter was oblivious to the whole thing, thankfully, as she was quietly playing with her Barbie and barely even blinked when she was told that she'd have to wait a bit longer to see Aurora. During their turn, Aurora was cool towards Entitled Dad, but great with the daughter. They had a long talk about how a real princess is kind and patient and compassionate towards others. Entitled Dad slunk away, and I hope he learned from his behavior. I kind of want to take a moment to talk about Entitled Dad's daughter in this whole story. Her dad literally said right in front of her face that she wished that she was dying so that he could cut some lines. It's lucky that the daughter wasn't paying attention because that's such an effed up thing to say to your own kid. What a garbage human being. Our next Reddit post is from Brightside, and this is part 2 of an earlier story that I covered in another Entitled Parents video. In a previous story, an entitled mother broke into OP's yard so that her kids could play in OP's pool. And when OP kicked them out, the entitled mother told the kids to pee in her pool. I'll put the link in the description if you want to watch part 1. Sorry for not updating in a while, but I have been incredibly busy at work and was not able to find time to update. Here are a few more things that Entitled Mother has done to my family and my neighbors since the first incident. Event 2. I came home from shopping the next day and found out that Entitled Mother went into my backyard a second time. I was out at the hardware store buying a new lock for the gate when this occurred. Before I had left to go shopping, I asked my elderly neighbor to keep an eye out for Entitled Mom, just in case. Here's what my neighbor told me happened. She said that entitled mother and her kid were in my yard playing with my family's lawn games. We have several, such as lawn darts, ladder ball, a fake axe throwing game, etc. She didn't know how long they had been in the yard, but when she noticed them, she went onto her deck and told them to leave. After making a fuss again, they complied and left. Apparently, a lot of swearing and a full-blown tantrum was involved. I went into the yard to investigate and see if anything had been taken. Nothing was taken, but most of the games had damage. A few darts were snapped, an axe was broken, and my inflatable unicorn float for the pool was popped. I was livid at this point, and I couldn't believe this happened again. I spoke to my parents about this incident, and I wanted to call the police. My parents told me not to bother though, that it was just cheap stuff and that I should let it go. They told me that the police wouldn't care about something so trivial. Ultimately, they're the homeowners, so it was not my decision. I did make a point of taking all the broken pieces and throwing them over her front lawn. A few bags of dog waste included for extra fun. Event 3. The entitled kids went into another elderly neighbor's front garden and picked almost every one of her flowers. She had a beautiful garden with roses and other expensive flowers in it. It was my neighbor's pride and joy. She had been working on that garden ever since I was a child. I was walking my dog when I found her crying in her garden as she cleaned up the mess. When she told me the story of what had happened, it broke my heart. I asked her if she was going to call the police, and she said that she already had. They had come earlier in the day and had gone over to talk to entitled mother. Entitled mother defended her entitled kids' actions by saying that it was her birthday, and the entitled kids thought she deserved a beautiful present. Wasn't that lovely of them? She even proudly showed the bouquet off to the police officers. The police didn't do anything other than give her a verbal warning and file a report. Event 4. The neighborhood has a park only 3 houses down from entitled mom's home. Instead of walking there like a normal person, she would load her kids up in a car and drive them over. There isn't a parking lot at this park, and most people who drive there will park on the side of the road. Not entitled mom though. She would run over the curb and park directly beside the children's playground equipment. She has done this numerous times, regardless of if there are other people at the playground. She would just honk her horn at you and scream for you to move. I have a video and pictures of her doing this. OP, if you're watching this, I will pay you for those videos. Some of the other neighborhood parents were obviously furious over her actions, and she was confronted about her behavior. I stood with them watching as I was walking my dog at the time, and I was very curious to see how this ended. They told her she could hit a child or animal by doing this. She just started saying we were racist and that we were harassing her. She then went and called the police on us. She was acting very smug by doing this and seemed genuinely proud of herself. She told the group that we were going to be sorry for the way we have treated her since she moved in. As soon as the police came, she began to cry and claimed that we had all been harassing her for weeks. She made up a whole bunch of lies about things we had done to her. She even threw herself on the ground and acted like a child. 2 of her kids joined in on this tantrum, and the others just continued to play. The police interviewed everyone who was present, and it became very clear that she was wrong in this situation. The police pulled her aside and talked to her. She was given a very hefty ticket for reckless driving, and she was told that if this happened again, she would be charged. For once, she was silent and just left with her kids. To my knowledge, she hasn't done this again since. This is all I have to tell you about right now, and I better get back to work before my boss notices. I wish I had more time to tell you everything that's happened, but I promise to update again soon. OP, please sell me the videos of her honking at the park. I will gladly pay you for those videos so I can post them on my YouTube channel. And to everyone else, definitely subscribe to my channel because if OP takes me up on this offer, you're definitely going to want to check out that footage. That was r/Entitledparents, and this is r/puppy bloopers. Dog, please. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I need to work. Dog, you want to cuddle? Come on, you can cuddle with me. No, I don't want to play right now. Well, I mean, I want to, but I can't. Come on, dog. All right, take it easy. Take it easy, dog. Our next Reddit post is from Maddyherselius. Please, dog. Please. Dog. No. Our next Reddit post is from... Can you stop panning? Please. Dog, come on, man.